Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies. My anatomy is still swollen after my mansectomy, so that's enjoyable. I've got them propped up on a pillow right now. It's a little bit inconvenient, to say the least. So I've been spending a lot less time sitting up or playing War Thunder. I've spent less time making videos as well, but it's just been killing me, and I got these two replays sent in just today. One via ConeOfArc regarding the fantastic, as always, KPZ 70, das Kampfpanzer 70, und to fill out the German domination lineup for today. We'll also be watching a video on the long gone but nary forgotten mouse tank. For those of you that are new to the game, welcome to the channel. Since the mouse was removed from being able to be researched, you are in for a real treat. It's a heavy tank that sits at 7.7 battle rating currently, and it's something of a meme machine, but we'll get there eventually. Until that happens, we have ConeOfArc playing with the suspension, as you do, the KPZ 70, along with its top-of-the-line autoloader and overall fantastic mobility and gun handling. Also comes with an adjustable hydro-pneumatic suspension. Try to get Napalm Rata to say that. It's pretty hilarious. Pneumatic, as they say. But that allows you to adjust the attitude of the tank. And with a general gotta go fast thesis on life, it certainly brings an attitude all its own to the battlefield. Along with a turret mounted 20mm turret. Yo dog, I heard you like turrets, so I put a turret on your turret so you can yeet while you skeet. But the 20mm on top of the KPZ is another facet of this vehicle for which it is widely known, and somehow the poor bastard in the XM1 manages to bounce a lawn dart only to have it punch right through his neck armor, as you do. I'm pretty sure that would be a shatter scenario where the APFSDS would probably disintegrate from an impact at that angle, but I suspect that Gaijin have not implemented APFSDS shatters in order to make the game a little bit more balanced. Vehicles like the XM1 and the Abrams do need those weak spots, as they are overall such competent vehicles that to give them an actual reasonable level of armor protection would put them right on over the top, the way you do, because America, we've got the best tanks in the world, and we have had for quite some time. At least if you listen to Conte Baraka. And knowing nothing, I happen to agree. But now, already not yet 5 minutes into the match, and it's time to camp some spawn. So this is a situation where and also Cone might be visible on the minimap to the enemy team here. If you sit close enough to the enemy spawn, you become visible to them on your map, and in a live match you'll see that there's a red circle around their spawn, indicating that you've gotten too close for comfort. And Cass comes in, but I think he actually didn't manage to take down that, what is that, Leo 2K? Also camping spawn the way you do. There's another very capable vehicle, and it looked like a few 20mm just went right through that A2D. Premium monies well spent. I'm a huge fan of that almost jet-powered closed air support platform. It has an absolutely insane climb rate and fantastic ordnance, along with very, very effective 420 mils and a generous complement of ammunition, as you generally get in American aircraft, with a little bonus on top because it is, after all, an attacker. And the match is winding down with 5 kills and 3 assists already, and surprisingly no deaths. And I have no idea what Cone is doing now. It looks like he's set up to ambush that exit to the spawn, but it appears that he's changing his mind and attempting to awkwardly reposition himself. One of the things about Gaijin map design is it's often horrible trash, and these rocks that you see right here are a prime example of such. Why do these rocks exist? They don't provide useful cover for tanks. They don't actually block off a part of the map. They're just kind of there as an obstacle that no tank can drive right over, but any tank can drive right around. In other words, they're dummy catchers, and they caught Cone a little bit there. So it's just one of those things in map design where you have to ask yourself, what does this accomplish? And if all it does is piss people off, then maybe it doesn't need to exist. Because after all, it's not like you can pay money to get unstuck from the rocks, so there really is no reason to make people frustrated. Is there? Is there, Gaijin? See to your map design, sir. But that's just my own little quibble. I get caught on the terrain every now and then, and you just gotta ask yourself, why? Anyway, those rocks are just absolutely necessary for the aesthetic of the map, don't you know? Maybe not putting them down in the base of a gully would be the way forward, because after all, when you're driving downhill and you don't have the horsepower or the traction for whatever reason to drive back up that hill or effectively traverse, the last thing you want is a doorstop with a big low poly green moldy moss on top of it to ask you how's your father. But as the chaos rains down into the enemy spawn, this match effectively over in the first 5 minutes, and now just a slaughter until the enemy team stops respawning. We have the KPZ-70 and the less impressive Gaijin map design on full display. There are a couple of maps, in fact, I dare say there are a good dozen or so maps in this game that are beautiful and well structured, but that's not one of them. Now, on to the Mouse House, brought to you by RosehipSan. I do believe that the pilot of this tank was rocking a custom camouflage of debauchery, and I don't happen to have that one downloaded right now, so you get the default skin, which is nonetheless not a bad look at all. And I say default, I don't think this is the one you start with. It's one of those later low effort German skins. To get into another aspect of this game, the default camouflages that are available in the game have seen a lot of improvement over the years, but that hasn't really carried over to the mouse. In any event, we skip ahead to the action as Mocha's very own RosehipSan picks up their first kill with the 128mm anti-tank cannon on the mouse, picking up a second kill in short order. Even the coaxial could have taken down that enemy armored car, and yet Rosehip gives them the good news, 128mm at a time. At a 7.7 battle rating, the mouse is, if not the poorest among the poorest heavy tanks in terms of armor penetration, with its 128mm cannon, just like you find on the Jagdtiger at 6.7. I think the D10T 122mm cannon available on some of the Soviet heavies is of similar caliber, to put things a certain way. Not all that effective in terms of penetration when compared with the things that it can face, but very effective once it punches through, which has been apparent so far. Backing that up with a 75mm coaxial cannon, yes, that's right, the thickest coax in game. That's something I feel like I could brag about if that was my story, but it's not. That belongs only to the mouse, and is yet another reason that this box tank of wonder and glory, with a mantlet that looks like it was crudely carved from a piece of soap, is in fact a historically accurate replica of a thing that existed in real life and got blowed up real good at least once before it even fired the gun once in anger, because Allied air support is OP. Tactical bombers OP. But the mouse in the game of War Thunder has been really at the heart of the original meta of the game. You used to want, and this seems crazy because of where things are now, but you used to want the biggest, thickest, chonkiest thing to swing in the general area of the enemy, and nothing could brag as much as the mouse. In fact, the German and only super heavy tank in the game in its day was so powerful that it received a series of nerfs to its armor protection to make it even possible to potentially kill this thing from any angle. This was before APDS, this was before APFSDS or Heat FS rounds were in the game, and the hardest hitting round was probably, once more, fired from the D10T 122mm Soviet cannon in the hands of IS-4M and IS-3 players, where they received a post-war round that had, I think, somewhere in the area of 250mm of penetration, which, after the mouse received a series of nerfs to its armor effectiveness, the armor effectiveness multiplier being reduced for the mouse, and the thickness of the armor on the upper frontal plate and the turret front being lower than their historical values probably were, that was just enough to allow players a chance to potentially pen the mouse if it was completely unangled. And now, even at 7.7, this German monstrosity, although no longer available to new players of the game because Gaijin logic, is very, very vulnerable. And yet, as you've seen, not only can you tank shots every now and then in this behemoth, you can also deliver a fatal blow yourself. Now, to get even 2 or 3 kills is a true achievement in the mouse. It's not one of those vehicles that you expect to do well. Generally, it can tank quite a few hits if enemies are unable to set its fuel tanks or ammunition on fire. And even in a case where you get a fuel fire every now and then, the components and the crew of this absolute beast of an armored unit are spaced out in such a way that getting taken down effectively and rapidly by the enemy is generally something of a rare occurrence. One of the few things that can take you down reliably in one shot is late tier APHE as a Frenchman goes up in flames. Toasty, overcooked baguette crumbs being ejected forcefully out of the vehicle as the ammunition and the entire crew is instantly liquefied by that Teutonic thunderbolt in the form of that 128mm APHE. So the mouse, as in the past, still vulnerable to a flat side-on hit to its ammo stowage by just about anything, but even more when it's, you want to aim just a tiny bit higher, just a few inches, and he would be into the weak spot of that. I think that's an IS-3. Can't quite tell at this range. Could be an IS-4M, but both of those actually have an angled floor plate that sits at around 60mm. So that's a great place to punch through the, yes, that is the IS. Is that IS-4M? We'll find out next time he gets hit by something. Nope, IS-3. Either way, they do have a weak spot right at the base of the side armor where it merges with the floor armor. And again, it's effectively around 60mm. Just about everything can punch through there, and a 128 APHE can cause plenty of damage once it squeaks through. So these late tier rank, what is this, rank 5 heavy and super heavy tanks, very uncommon, very unpopular in the game. Sad to see the mouse having been taken out of the game. I'm never going to forget that. I really feel like it was one of Gaijin's biggest mistakes and one of the least necessary actions that they took. So a nice 8th kill. Nicely done, Rosehip-san. As the match starts to wind to a close, let us all remember the mouse tank and my swollen marbles today. I had a surgery and I am sore. It's been like 3 days, but it's pretty bad. So that just about does it for today's video. Big thanks to the people that sent in replays, and as always, you can get a hold of me with your own replays. There is a link to my Discord in the description of this video. It's a great place to get a hold of me, just to hang out or for whatever. And I'll try to keep these replay videos coming along with all the other stuff I'm excited to do. I have been spending less time playing video games, especially War Thunder, but I have gotten some time in today. I had a blast in the few matches that I played, and I'll probably work those into something at some point. I got a couple of sort of meme videos out from those matches, and a nice second hit, be careful now, enunciate clearly, into, what is that? Challenger? Something or other. The mouse tank definitely faces different foes than it used to back in the day, and it's no longer the monster it used to be. At 7-7, it's definitely not an overpowered beast, probably falling more into the underpowered category, but it couldn't stand to sit at 7-3 either. It would tend to raffle stomp things, and it can still tank hits quite effectively every now and then. It really is a vehicle that performs best when surrounded by its friends. So why don't you join us over at Toshio Thunder Discord, and maybe even consider joining AmFam. We're a very small squadron in War Thunder, and thus always accepting new members, and mostly what we do is just get squadron research together and do a little bit of playing around in World War mode when we get the chance. And being just denied his 9th kill, it looks like Rosehip-san is going to wrap things up there. Not bad in the mouse house, not bad at all. Hope you guys enjoyed this somewhat lengthy replay video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.